Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing the cheap eBay belts that are ratcheted. As you can see, they've got the track there. So basically my idea for this came from when I was watching Alpha M. He's been selling Anson belts to people and they're like 50 quid. And sorry, I'm a student, I'm not spending 50 quid on a belt, that ain't goddamn happening. But so I was like, okay, so I'm sure someone's doing a rip-off make of it. And I was like, okay, someone on eBay. And I noticed that the eBay sellers have two different options. This is one of them, and this is the other. As you can see, they have two different locking mechanisms. So I bought both of them to figure out which one would be the best out of the two of them. And currently, it's this one. This is much better than this one. And you should probably try staying away from this. And as you can see, this is actually like a pin that goes through that's not actually connected to the other bit. And it has like a square at this end that connects with it. But it's just not as reliable, and it has this kind of odd feedback, like it kind of pushes back very hard, and it's just hard to get off sometimes when you need to remove the belt. So I'd try to stay away from the style if you can. I believe this is the more common style by looking online. So as you can see, this one has a lock here, and this one has a lock here, whereas this is a solid bar all the way through. Okay, if you're trying to buy one of these belts, my suggestion is to get one with this type of connection, because as you can see, it's got a direct link there, whereas the other one has got two separate bits and it makes it kind of sloppy, so it doesn't always work, whereas this one's just always more reliable and just feels better, like it's easier to get on and off. It seems to be good, decent, like, leathers. It's actually leather, because while doing this, I thought I'd give it a month to do it, just to see how the belt wears in. This is another belt that cost me 20 quid, but it's got fake leather. And as you can see, this hasn't held up anywhere near as well as this has. You can kind of see the track where it's laid in, but it's not actually noticeable, especially when you're wearing it. And a cheap leather belt, say 15 quid. As you can see, a month later, you've got these marks in it where the leather's just starting to screw up. Okay, so when you first get these belts, they're going to come like this. And what you need to do is you're going to put them around your waist. That's it here. And you need to put this bit in the middle of that track. So that bit should land about here. See, if it was longer than that, you'd line up to where you want it to be. And then you get a pair of scissors or a knife or something that's relative to it, and just cut down it. Wow, they were goddamn blunt scissors. Take the other buckle, as you can see, it's got some little spikes here. You put the spikes into it, that direction, and push down, and it just clamps onto the belt, making quite a good, strong connection. And they're not particularly weak. You won't be able to rip them off by like just tightening them. The other good thing is there's no that over bullshit tightening shit. Like as you can see, you have spaces along here, and normally you're somewhere in between this. Whereas this belt has notches in every, I don't know, 3mm I'd say or something. So it means you have a lot more options on where the belt's actually going to be going in the actual arrangement. Like, so if you're dieting, this belt's also really helpful, because what's there, if you gain weight or lose weight, you can make very incremental adjustments to make it tailor your fit the best as possible. Looking on eBay, if you can see by any reviews or any other photos, you want the one that has this design, not this. This is a really bad design and it just doesn't work very well. I paid, I think about £12 for that on its own, about £12 free postage, and the other buckle was like 3 quid. At the time online, I thought this one looked nicer and was nicer, but I've ended up using this one more because this buckle is just kind of shitty, and the anodized aluminum that's blue is just kind of tacky. I like colour, but that's just a tad too much in person. You know, this just looks kind of naff. But yeah, if you have been searching for these online, I'd say give it a go. For the price they are, you're probably not going to get a better belt. Like, this is just a cheap generic leather belt you get from anywhere. And similar price, this is much better quality than just a cheap shop leather belt. And anything like this, it's just miles better quality, and these are just naff, and they just break constantly. I've had this like a month and it's lost little bits of the metal. There's weird little spikes sticking up in stupid places where they shouldn't be. So yeah, if you're after one of these belts and you see them like under $15, I suggest you get one. Like, they're a good price, seem to work well. But if you're looking for a belt and you want a cheap belt that's a ratchet belt, this is a good suggestion. It works well, it does what it says it does, and you can vary its size depending on who you are. There's none of that, have I got the right size of belt? So yeah, and all in all this is like $15, so $15. Okay. Okay, so if you're just looking for a belt online and you want a cheap belt and you want it to be a ratchet belt and you don't want to spend 50 quid on an Anson belt, an Anson belt is probably going to be better than this, because at the end of the day it's a belt that's a good brand, it's expensive, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that brand, you're paying to know everything's going to work. I can't vouch for all of these. These were made in China by God knows who. So these were made by. So if you're looking for a cheap belt, this is a good suggestion. It ain't going to compare to an Anson belt, because at the end of the day this is made in China. There may be different qualities in each one of their belts. Is probably going to be good quality belt. I may have just got really lucky with this particular one and it just works perfectly, whereas this one works kind of crappily. It still works and you can use it, it just isn't as reliable and don't feel as good. But that is generally up to two different locking mechanisms. But what I'm saying is, just seeing this as Chinese, there is a chance that there may be variations on how well they work. But then again, for the price of the Ansel, you can get like 5 of these. Especially if you buy from China, because then you get in like the fucking tenner. So if you're just looking for a cheap belt and you want a ratchet belt, I would genuinely suggest it. I'd just make sure you get this style instead of the other one. If you're going to want to buy an Anson belt, go ahead and buy an Anson belt. It'll probably be much better quality than this, because that's what you're paying for. But at the end of the day, I don't want to pay 50 quid on a belt, because I just don't think that's worth it at the end of the day. And for 15 quid, I think this is actually quite nice. It came pretty well packaged. Came in little, like fibre, what's it called? What it's called, damn it. Okay, give me 10 seconds, I'll work it out. It was called... Oh, okay, so if you want to just buy a belt, if you want to buy a belt that's cheap and is a ratchet belt, for the £15 I spent on it, it's not a bad belt, I would suggest it. If you want to buy an Ansel belt on the other hand, go ahead, it's a 50 quid belt and it's probably going to have better qualities than this, because at the end of the day you're paying for quality and you're paying for that name. If you were like me and you're like, I'm not spending 50 quid on a belt, because quite frankly in my head that's unreasonable, it's also a valid option. And on the other hand, you could be like, well, I could get one Ansel belt, or if I buy all these directly from China, like a tenner, so you get 5 of these on one Ansel belt, or buy one of these belts and buy multiple buckles and you can have a different style each day. I can't be arsed for that, so I'm just going to use this one.